Anybody done Whitney? Anybody here done Whitney? Okay, a couple of you have. Good. Did you do it in a day or in 2 days?
1 day.
1 day?
Yeah.
1 day. Studs. Did you start it at night?
4 a.m.
Yeah.
Friday midnight.
Okay, cool. So we started in the morning. The plan was to summit to the 11,000 foot level, right? Camp there, and then summit the second day and go all the way back down to the trailhead. So we needed a tent, and so I said to my friend, I said, you have a tent? He says, yeah, I got a tent. I said, okay, but I also have this really nice 2-man, and I can bring it, all right? He said, no, got it covered, got it covered. I later regretted taking his word for this. Well, the hike was to base camp, went fine, although we were surprised to find 5 feet of packed snow still on the ground in July. This was a few years ago. And the pond that we were camping next to was froze solid, July. As darkness began to fall, we began to set up camp. Jeff pulls out, there's his name. All right, I won't tell you his last name.
Yeah.
Sorry. He pulls out the tent, and I was immediately concerned. He was quickly able to set it up, and it looked like all of 4 foot long by 4 foot wide. I said, I thought you were going to bring a 2-man tent. He said, I did. I said, have you used this tent before? He said, no, I just bought it at Walmart. I said, how much did you pay for it? $19.99. That's $19. I picked up the wrapping the tent was in, and it said 2-person children's tent. I'm not kidding. I said, buddy, you bought a kiddie tent for the backyard sleepover. Come on. He says, no, it'll be fine. He's trying to cover it. He says, watch. As he climbs in, and he like has to curl up in there. He says, John, come on in. Well, there's room for you. I says, no, it isn't going to work. There was barely room for himself. So being the Christian that I am, I volunteered to sleep outside that night, wearing every stitch of clothing I had. But I woke up at 1 a.m., literally freezing my assets. So I lay there shivering, thinking some very non-Christian thoughts about my friend, who I heard snoring, in the kiddie tent a few feet away. And I was fighting to stay warm. I was turning, I was shivering. Finally, at 4 a.m., I get up, I fire up the burner, I make some coffee, and I sit against a rock for 2 hours. And just so there's a little bit of daylight, 6 a.m., I go over there, I say, Jeff, time to get up. It's time to start climbing. He says, Rick, how'd you sleep, John? I just grunted. I was so PO'd. I didn't even answer him. But as we began the climb, my hands and feet began to warm up, my mood changed, and we shared a memorable few moments on the top of the Sierra Nevadas at 14,497 feet, doing high fives and drinking in the spectacular 360-degree view. The long, cold night was but a memory. Listen, gentlemen, don't blink, all right? Don't blink. That was 8 years ago. I'm now 62. My buddy is 55. Got a call from him a few months ago. The trembling in his voice told me something was wrong. He says, John, do you have a few minutes? Sure. What's going on? He says, you aren't going to believe this because I can hardly believe it myself. But for the past few months, I've had all this weird stuff going on with me. It started out with a dizzy, confused feeling, like I was having this out-of-body experience just walking around. Then my ears started ringing really loudly, and some body parts were swelling up. I began losing weight and strength and energy levels. I tried to hide it from my staff, but overheard one of them saying I wasn't on top of my game, which was true. My symptoms baffled my doctors. I had brain scans, spinal fluid taps, over 50 blood tests, but the diagnosis was inconclusive. For months, I prayed and cried at night, asking God to heal me or take me. I was miserable. Finally, the classic symptoms of a well-known disease began revealing themselves. One night, I couldn't write the number 3. My arms stopped swinging when I walked. I couldn't write my own signature, and my face became very non-expressive. John, he said, I found out that I have Parkinson's disease at 55 years of age. I am so confused by this, but I just wanted you to know. I couldn't believe it either. And that's what I said to him. I said, man, this is so hard to believe. I'm sorry. You know, my heart goes out to you. You know, let me know, please, if there's anything that I can do. Well, he said thanks, and he said, you know, I'd be honest not to admit that I'm bewildered and worried by this. I have no idea what this means. And then he said, I wonder if I'll ever be able to climb again. And that's his passion, climbing. Can you imagine? And after saying goodbye, I slumped back in my chair, wanting to believe that the conversation I just had was an illusion. Whenever I think of this guy, I mean, mountaintop experiences come to mind, okay? What I just heard did not fit that picture. How could he cope with this new low place that would take him into unfamiliar territory? Well, thankfully, the adventurous, never-say-die spirit with my friend has not been snuffed out, okay? As weeks turned into months, he began climbing in a different way. He is gaining elevation mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. What inspired me was the new perspective he has about life. He said, I've gotten over most of the sadness, and I feel like I'm on a mission now. I feel this passion welling up in me. I want this next part of my life to be very significant. And then he said something that will always stick with me. He said, I want to hit the tape hard and finish strong. No rocking chairs, no take it easy attitude. And I thought to myself, now that's the guy I know and love. I want to hit the tape hard and finish strong. And I was wondering, could this be, this setback, could it be that this setback was actually causing him to throttle forward? I think so. He's decided he's not finished. Listen to this. He says, I was driving my car today and praying, God, show me my calling. Show me what you want me to do in the time that I have left. I've worked hard this past 31 years of my life, and the hard work has paid off pretty well. But this next part of my life, that's where I really want to kick butt. I have this vision that when I meet the Lord, he will have this grin on his face, a grin of pride. And he will pound fists, and we'll just pound fists and blow it up. And we'll hug for a long time and find in that embrace a happiness that can't be described. You know, he said that, my mind went back to the top of Mount Whitney, where he and I hugged and pumped our fist in the air. And I captured a glimpse of this vision he was describing, a vision of rapture on earth that ascended to heaven itself because God's presence was so real. Guys, God has promised he will love us through any situation. But he never said it would be easy. The suffering we endure in this life may be as small as calluses on our feet, which some of you guys are feeling tonight, or as large as Parkinson's that racks our bodies. In either case, God is able to provide the strength, enabling us to declare, I want to hit the tape hard and finish strong. And when you cross the finish line, you'll look back and perhaps see how the pain made the experience more special. You'll know you've accomplished something significant and that it wasn't easy. Ironically, you may find that this elevates your happiness and joy in life. And best of all, you'll discover that you're living the life the way it was meant to be lived. And that's my prayer for all of you tonight. A couple final questions for you to